Monsters are not born. They are created by isolation, cruelty, and fear. Cyrus was not always the virus. Cyrus is the monster we created.
Oh, nothing makes me sadder than the agent lost his bladder in the airplane. Where were you at?
Con Air.
Con Air.
Not the first place you would think to find some thrilling social commentary about the prison system of America.
No, but where else to start, really? Well, obviously John Malkovich is just fantastic at portraying any character. This is a very layered character that we created ourselves as humanity, as society. We created the virus.
They say in the movie that Cyrus is a product of the U.S. prison system. They make a point to say that.
He's a poster child for the criminally insane. He's a true product of the system.
They also establish early in the movie that the system itself is corrupt and unfair, as we see Nicolas Cage's character wrongfully, maybe not wrongfully, but definitely overpunished.
He didn't mean to kill that guy, but
so his lawyer in the movie says if you plead guilty, you'll get 4 years or something like that.
But if you don't, you might get 8, and then he ends up getting 10 anyway or something.
So yeah, he pleads guilty, and then the judge...
He wants to make an example.
Yeah, he's like, you're a deadly weapon. You know better than this. We're gonna give you 10 years in prison, right?
The worst.
It's very important to the story of Cyrus because we also see the system that creates virus. It's established very early in the movie just how corrupt it is and how it can produce such a monster as Cyrus. They establish that he wasn't a monster before he goes into the prison system because was charged with 11 counts of murder, but all of those counts of murder are inmates.
When he was already locked up.
Exactly.
What is he, one of these sociology majors that thinks we're responsible for breeding these animals?
No, but I could point a few fingers if it would make you feel comfortable.
He was arrested for what, arson?
Yeah, arson and robbery.
He must be a quick learner.
Well, yeah,
he's really smart.
He's kind of like a self-made man in the sense that he becomes this sort of evil genius within the U.S. prison system, and he's almost forced to, right?
39 years old, 25 of them spent in our institutions. But he's bettered himself inside, earned 2 degrees, including his Juris Doctor.
But in the movie, he never actually kills anyone who isn't a criminal.
Nope.
And he does kill some police officers.
Yeah, I mean...
But the movie establishes that DEA police officers are almost worse than criminals.
I'm DEA, you know what the fuck that means? You're the most crooked nigga on this plane. Shut up.
Cyrus the Virus is a pretty multi-layered criminal, as you said, because he's a complicated guy. There are some rules that he plays by in the movie. The first time we see him talk is he talks to Johnny 23, right?
And it's like...
For me, you're somewhere between a cockroach and that white stuff that accumulates at the corner of your mouth when you're really thirsty.
He's so specific on how he wants him to know how he thinks of him.
He creates a barrier almost between all of the people he works with in the movie. Even Pinball. He says something about how Pinball is expendable at one point in the movie. And
Unfortunately.
Pinball is like, you didn't mean that, right? And then he says, yeah, I did.
But he knows that Pinball is expendable except for Pinball. Pinball is one of the most integral characters in the movie because without him, there is no Con Air. It's just air. But back to Cyrus, that was his plan.
He uses people like tools.
Yes.
That's why he works with criminals that he doesn't like and criminals that he doesn't respect. He's alone in the world too, right? Even at one point in the movie, he talks about how he never had a family or anyone to support him. So he's always kind of used people as tools, and he relies on their incompetence almost as a part of his plan. Blowing up his cell, he labels the bomb box with "Do Not Open."
It's so it's something that the Joker would do. It's so funny because it's such a slap in the face of how he thinks he's just higher up and smarter. And in many ways, he is. That's what it's kind of like when you put a lot of pressure into a diamond to make it into a diamond. Put a lot of pressure into a human being, into this particular system. You're going to create either crazy reform or a super villain criminal. And we got the super villain criminal. It could have been just him at the end of it, and he'd have been cool.
John Cusack has a line in the movie that really kind of sums up this sort of social commentary. It's Dostoevsky. And he says, the degree of civilization in a society can be judged by observing its prisoners, right? So the movie does a good job of setting up that Cyrus was created by the prison system. And not just, by the prison system, but actually the society of America at large. Mm-hmm. So the movie establishes how criminals are maybe not wrongfully imprisoned, but with Nicolas Cage's character, but overly punished for their acts, right?
It also shows like the strength of like a support system.
Yes.
And knowing, having something to come home to is helping you reform, rather than like Cyrus has nobody really.
Juxtaposing like Cameron Poe, Nicolas Cage's character, against Cyrus the Virus, John Malkovich's character.
Yeah, stark contrast.
We see the man who has his family and his support system, who has a reason to get out of prison and reform. And then we have the man who has no one except for the prison system that has made him this capable, cunning villain, but has also rejected him from society and not really given him any hope, right?
He doesn't give himself hope.
Garland Greene's character actually says this.
That's a
most
Steve
murders
Buscemi.
Are crimes of necessity. So that kind of speaks more to the fact maybe Cyrus, the people he killed in prison,
it was all part of the big plan, or they just kind of got in the way at the wrong time.
Maybe it was self-defense.
Maybe it was self-defense.
Maybe it was a you or me situation, much like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that makes sense. It's really interesting to think about. If Nicolas Cage didn't have, I guess, a wife and a child to go back to, I'm not too sure how much better he would have gotten over time. I never thought about it in that sense. It's so important to have, like, a reason to go on.
So Cyrus, in the beginning of the movie, appreciates Poe's
truly nice work
capability, and Cyrus sees him as a tool that can be used
very much.
But as Cyrus like actually begins to realize who Poe is, he kind of definitely starts to have some animosity towards him, as he represents everything Cyrus like failed to be. Cyrus failed to overcome the oppression of the prison system. He failed to have a loving family. And Poe has compassion for his friends. Well, Cyrus's friends are criminals who he could care less for, right? So
it's almost like a run to the litter kind of thing. Kind of feel bad for the old guy.
And in the movie, like, you know, Cyrus makes his bed, you know, like he does some nefarious shit. He gives in to the evil, right? Like he fell to the dark side.
He had his chance.
He had his chance before the movie started. Like, yeah, maybe before the movie we can have some like sob story about how Cyrus is a victim.
Cyrus backstory
of the American prison system. But at the end of the day, like he becomes what he is, and what he is a monster, and he's a monster that we created as a society, right? And a lot of the characters in the movie are actually like monsters created by social injustice.
You were saying even
Diamond Dog.
Diamond Dog. He was like arrested for like a racial like injustice.
He's an extremist for sure.
Okay, well let's
But like his extremist views are driven by like racial injustice, right?
Racial injustice.
Garland Greene, we see in the movie that he is also like he's crazy, like psychopath. Like he talks about how he drove through 2 states like wearing a girl's head.
Garland Greene was the first time I ever saw Steve Buscemi in a role. It's hard for me to watch a Steve Buscemi role without me like getting like psychopath vibes, because he's just so good, like, you know. And now he's just a guy I wish I could hang out with. Steve, call me. Anyway, you're gonna cut this all out anyway.
Maybe not. But Garland Greene is not a man you want to hang out with.
No, definitely not. But don't trust any person who has like alliteration in their name.
Garland Greene is an example of the inability to treat mental illness.
Are you sick?
Why do you ask?
You look sick.
I am sick.
To a certain extent, right? Because he also talks in the movie about the definition of insanity, right? He talks about how you work your entire life for someone else only to retire, like not being able to do anything with your life, waiting out the rest of your days for your body to like kind of decompose and like waste away, right? So like Garland Greene has kind of been almost driven insane by the expectations of society. That has kind of broken him mentally and turned him into this like crazy Hannibal Lecter-esque psychopath.
He like literally like refers to like Dahmer, Gacy, and Bundy as like the greats.
Yeah, artists.
It's just like the artists. It's like, oh my goodness, you know?
Yeah, to like him, like killing becomes an art to a certain extent, because he's also the one that brings up that most murders are crimes of necessity, which he uses.
Very interesting way to say it.
He uses it to separate himself from the rest of the criminals in the pack. I think he's kind of distinguishing himself, like how his crimes are not crimes of necessity. Yeah. He is one of the greats. So all the criminals in the movie are essentially monsters whose creation was made possible by the social injustice we have in America and the world as well, right?
Yes.
So, but Cyrus the Virus, being the main villain of the movie, is definitely the one who encompasses that the most. They even say it in the movie that he is a product of the system.
Yeah.
And then they establish that that system is corrupt.
But also works if you're in like Nicolas Cage's situation, where like you have a proper support system and you have like you stay out of trouble or whatever. But I guess it's like maybe it's how Cyrus went in and how Nicolas Cage went in.
It does come down to like how they went in. We don't know much about Cyrus's backstory. I think the fact that they allude to he is a product of the system, and the fact that he did only commit murder after he was in prison.
Fact, like after he was in prison, yeah. Watch Con Air. It's so fun. Oh my goodness.
You know what? The movie definitely doesn't dig as deep as maybe like we are digging into it now.
No, but that's because if we don't, nobody will.
But it definitely poses some interesting questions, and I think they did make an effort to sort of create a philosophical layer underneath typical action movies too, right? What do you think about Cyrus the Virus? Do you think he's a victim?
Do you think he's a product of us? It's our fault. Have you had viruses?
Feel free to leave a comment below. Hit that subscribe button.
Let us know. Do you like John Malkovich? I like John Malkovich.